15%. He's in the entrance poll here. Again, the theory of the case you heard from months from Buttigieg was, hey, he'll do well in Iowa and New Hampshire and everything.
Stay with me, Steve. Let's get a split. I got two wows over here. Go ahead.
So, I mean, the thing is, I'm tempted to say, when you saw that cutaway and the African Americans on stage behind him, I was like, how nice of the mayor to bring his entire national African American support on stage with him tonight. And so, this kind of weakness of his, it's been chronic. People have known this from the beginning. He's made almost no inroads in this way. And it's a liability. Like, what's going to happen in South Carolina won't be any better. Now, what was interesting, I think, about his attack.
And by the way, what was going forward wasn't going to be much better. I kept saying on this channel, despite mainstream media doing everything in their power to make Buttigieg come across like he was an actual thing, I kept saying Buttigieg is not a thing. It is impossible to win the Democratic nomination without winning the black vote. There are far too many people in it. Yes, you can split the black vote and win it, but you can't necessarily get 2% of the black vote, which is what he got in Nevada, I think 1% in South Carolina. It wasn't going to get any better in Georgia or many of the other southern states. Regardless of Buttigieg, the stuff that he was saying about broad coalition and everything else, basically Buttigieg got the white wine crowd vote. Buttigieg has come to his senses and is out of the Democratic primary. Down goes Pete. Down goes Pete. Pete Buttigieg to quit Democratic presidential race. The first openly gay mayoral presidential candidate, Mr. Buttigieg, rose to the primary's top tier but was unable to build a broad coalition of voters, and lost badly in South Carolina on Saturday. So Buttigieg got a bump from a fake win in Iowa, and after he got the fake win. Now, what did I say when he got the fake win? I said Buttigieg taking second place in Iowa might have been the best case scenario. Now, why did I say that? I said that because Buttigieg has no staying power in this race. Ultimately, Buttigieg put all of his money into Iowa and New Hampshire. He had no money going forward in the Super Tuesday states. And yeah, he got embarrassed in Nevada, he got embarrassed in South Carolina. Who does Pete's votes go to? Nationally, now that Pete is out, who's going to get that support? I have 2 points on this. Pete came in a distant third in the Nevada caucus, which drew strong numbers of Latinos, and fourth place in South Carolina, where blacks made up a majority of the electorate. He won just 3% in the exit polls in South Carolina. Okay, better than 1%, 3% in South Carolina. After raising more than $76 million in 2019, an astonishing haul for a mayor with no national profile, Buttigieg spent nearly all of his treasure in Iowa and New Hampshire. He faced campaigning across coast-to-coast states in Super Tuesday, experiencing with evaporating funds and little chance of clearing the threshold of 15% of votes to amass delegates. Here's the catch. If Pete Buttigieg looked at his finances, looked at what was going to take place going forward, looked at what he's done up to this point and said, I got to drop out. I have no pathway of winning the nomination. And if I'm being honest, I don't even have a pathway of winning a state. So I'm going to drop out. Interestingly to note that Buttigieg came ahead of Warren in every race. He came ahead of Warren in Iowa, New Hampshire, and Nevada, and also South Carolina. And despite coming out ahead of Warren in all of those contests, Buttigieg takes an honest accounting and leaves the race. Warren does not take an honest accounting and stays in the race. And you can say the same thing for Klobuchar. I was curious about who the second person was for Pete, meaning if it wasn't Pete, who's number two? Look at this. Sanders is Pete Buttigieg's second choice. Sanders is Warren's second choice. Sanders is Biden's second choice. Isn't that amazing? Bloomberg's second choice is Joe Biden. But ultimately, Sanders gets 21% of Buttigieg supporters. 19% goes to Joe Biden and Elizabeth Warren, meaning they get split. But Sanders gets the lion's share of Buttigieg supporters. That's amazing. That's phenomenal. Look at Warren's. Warren gets 40%. 40% of the people who are backing Warren will go to Sanders if Warren wasn't in the race. I keep telling you, she is not a friend of the left. She is sucking up some of the support, whatever that number of support is. She is sucking up a large contingent of his support. That number has only increased, by the way. Not so much because Warren is expanding into Sanders' electorate. That's not it. It's more so the conservative people who were backing Warren at one point started going to Biden or to Pete. Meaning she started losing her contingent of right-wing Democrats. And just by definition, even though her voter share is going down, meaning she's just losing and draining support, the number of people who are Sanders supporters in her camp, just by definition of the right-wing Democrats leaving, goes higher, despite her overall total going down. 40% of the people who are backing Warren would back Sanders if Warren wasn't in the race. That would be just an outright win. In Buttigieg's case, those people also go to Sanders. Shockingly so. I didn't expect that. But based on morning consult, they go to Sanders. I'll leave it here. Down goes Buttigieg. Down goes Pete. Down goes Pete. Down goes Pete. Couldn't happen to a better bullshitter. Like, share, subscribe. Thanks all.